funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello and welcome to it. It's Monday. Thank God it's Monday. I'm just going to tell you, thank God it's Monday. Now, the show's going to sound a little different today. It might look a little bit different today because I have spent the entire bloody weekend in the studio. I got this new glorious broadcast desk that it's taken me 5 months to get here. Got no help at all from anybody, so I did it myself. And I got it in here. We got it here on Friday, and they had to take it apart. They had to completely disassemble it. So the people who built it lied to me about it, being able to be taken apart. So they had to break it up. And then, of course, we had to reassemble it. Fortunately, I found a guy who actually was a furniture builder, not just a mover, but a furniture builder. Brought it up here. So we got this glorious new desk. The studio lighting is now all messed up. We got to change everything. The microphone might sound a little bit different. All of that, but we do have a new broadcast. So everything is uncomfortable right now. The chair I'm sitting in is uncomfortable right now because the desk is much higher and all of that. But that said, had a very nice week. Do you have a nice weekend? I had a pretty nice weekend. I had a date last night, and I was nervous, right? Because I don't date, right? I don't date. So I went on this date, and we're at this sushi restaurant, and she has a sake. So you got this little thing for sake, and over here you got this little thing for soy sauce. And I went to get her some more sake, and I accidentally filled her cup with soy sauce. That was a little embarrassing. That was a little embarrassing. I just don't think I want to date. I really don't. I think I'm just fine. You guys will just be my date every day. We'll just hang out. Honestly, I don't have time for this nonsense. It's Groundhog Day. And once again, 6 more weeks or whatever. Does it ever change? Honestly, listen, I get it. It's Puxatawny, Pennsylvania's moment to shine, and everybody can go there and day drink and, have a good time when they get a rodent out and they sees its shadow, although it was cloudy. I don't understand it. And then, of course, they make this stupid proclamation, 6 more weeks of winter. Well, you know what? No kidding. No kidding. It's just it's a little bit ridiculous. That said, despite it all, I'm going to start off with some good news.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning. Lots of winning. It's so good.
So, despite all the caterwauling and the bull crap from the Democrat Party, and honestly, I'm so done. I did a piece on Substack, and I said, I'm done having arguments about stupid. I'm done having superfluous arguments where I have to prove myself, even though it's obvious I'm right. Okay, Donald Trump sealed the southern border. That's it, that's all. It was a good thing. That's it, that's all. I'm not going to sit around and be challenged by people on social media saying why it's a bad thing. I'm done having these arguments. I don't have time for it anymore. The Democrats are out marching this weekend. Friday, they were going to shut down the entire country. Remember they said that on Friday, they were going to shut down the whole country. Guess what? They didn't. It didn't do anything. All they had was a couple marches in your usual suspect metros, L.A. and Minneapolis, of course, and the world went on. The world went on without them. But that said, I moved to Washington, D.C. 6 months ago. Right after I moved here, Donald Trump brought in the National Guard to take care of crime. And guess what? Washington, D.C. has its lowest lowest crime rate in 30 years. They haven't had a murder in Washington, D.C. in 21 days. In 21 days. The crime is down dramatically in Washington, D.C. Democrats are going to complain about it. Democrats are going to figure out some reason why this is bad. But crime in the District of Columbia down 35% to its lowest point in 30 years. People in the hood are able to go out and hang out on the stoop and watch their kids play without getting shot. Do you know how big this is? Also, we heard last week that the murder rate in America, the lowest since the year 1900. And of course, we've got to figure out how to operate in a vacuum of any reporting of good news by the liberal media. But we have the lowest murder rate since the year 1900. Now, I've been telling you we've got to overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism. We have to do that. So even as hard as like this weekend, and I saw these idiots at the Grammys last night, which don't matter, by the way. It don't matter all. They made fools of themselves. And then I saw these Hakeem Jeffries and Chris Murphy lying about ICE and all of this. And most Americans support it. Most Americans support getting the illegals the hell out, because that's why we voted for Donald Trump. One of the myriad reasons why we voted for Donald Trump. So we've got to figure out how to make this breakthrough in a vacuum from any good news reporting by the liberal media, because they're just awful. They're just awful. And they want a summer of 2020. That's what they want. That's what the left wants in this country. They want to set the country on fire again this summer. I'm just telling you that. You've already seen shades of it. This is what they want to do. They want to burn the country down in the summer of 2020 because they see a lot of trouble in the midterms, okay? I know there was a special election in Texas. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. We've got to continue to stay the course and point out the absurdity of their positions. That said, back to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is almost crime-free. Here's Greg Jarrett talking about it.
You know, people were walking and living in fear in Washington, D.C. Suddenly, that's changed. Everybody reported the one homicide that occurred just a few days ago. It used to be they wouldn't even report it. It was so common. No. But now it's rare, just one so far this year, which I think sets a record.
In the history of this country, we have the lowest number of murders. We have the lowest crime, the best crime numbers. That's despite the fact that millions, I say 25 million people, millions of people were let in through the border by Biden. And many of those people were not people you want to have in the country.
Yeah, they did that. And don't ever forget that, by the way. I know you haven't forgotten that. But they, Donald, what they did to our southern border when Joe Biden was the president was criminal, and Alejandro Mayorkas should be summarily executed. I'll just say it honestly. He needs to be tried and executed. His actions, along with Joe Biden and whoever the autopin was signing the open border, caused the death of hundreds of thousands of Americans. They caused the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans. Chances are you know a family that lost someone to fentanyl poisoning. Okay? And of course, 300,000 plus children trafficked for sex and labor. These are all the things that the Democrat Party wants you to forget as they screech and yell about ICE supposedly being Nazis. That's what they want you to forget. Here's a little bit more from Greg Jarrett on Washington, D.C. being a wonderful place to live now.
Well, it's quite simple. Take the bad guys out, crime goes down. And you saw it in Washington, D.C., where, it used to be crime central, staggering murder rate, more than 200.
When I moved here, there were homeless encampments everywhere, including across from Union Station, and Union Station was a crap hole.
Years, suddenly that plummeted when Trump poured in federal resources, sent into the National Guard.
Yeah.
And you saw violent crime drop 50%
Unbelievable.
to a 30-year low.
Yeah.
Homicides, robberies, dangerous assaults, carjackings, all of that dropped by 30 to 50%. They took the gangs and the drug traffickers off the streets, along with their vast arsenal of guns. And the D.C.
They also found out that the previous police chief was lying about the numbers. She was saying that the numbers were down during Joe Biden's administration. That was a lie. That's why she's no longer the police chief.
Police union cheered Trump, and so did minority neighborhoods, disproportionately victimized. But the president also did something else important. He ordered more aggressive prosecutions.
What?
And of course, it worked.
Yeah.
No more dismissed cases. The lesson is when you take the career criminals out of action, of course the crime rate's going to drop.
And then also shutting the border to all the illegals who were committing crime. Don't forget that.
Common sense, but you can't seem to tell that to blue cities because their politicians care more about protecting criminals than innocent victims of crime.
This is why in places like Minneapolis, they literally would rather release a murderer or a rapist onto the street in spite of Donald Trump. I mean, like, in spite. They are spiteful, is what I'm trying to say. They would rather have that after they allowed murderers, rapists, narco traffickers to stream across the border without any restrictions whatsoever. They did it for 4 years. Never forget it. Never forget it. Even though there's the Grammys, we're talking about ice, no ice, and all this. And I'm gonna trust me, I'm gonna make fun of them very shortly on the show. There was some positive last night at the Grammys. There's a guy named Jelly Roll. You know Jelly Roll? He's got this song called "Hard-Fought Hallelujah," which I listen to every day. Although I needed it more than anything today. Trust me on this. I really needed it today. But it's a beautiful song, and he had a beautiful message in spite of all of the spoiled children at that Grammy ceremony last night, including Bad Bunny. And by the way, I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year. I'm not asking for a boycott. I'm in no position to demand anything. I realize I am a small part of your life. You streamers only spend, on average, an hour and 40 minutes with me every day. Thank you. But I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl this year. This will be the first time in my entire life that I've not watched the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. I don't even care about it this year. I've had enough of Bad Bunny. I've had enough of Green Day. I've had enough of virtue signaling where they've got to put racism is bad in the end zone. Honestly, Super Bowl, you lost me. You lost me. I'm going to go do something else with my time on Sunday. I'm not going to have another date, and I'm certainly not going to go to a sushi restaurant. They'll just tell you that. Oh, man. I know there's a reason for all of this. I know there is. Listen, we got a lot of stuff on the show today. Blaine Holt's going to join us on today. We've got a lot of more good news, actually. The Trump economy firing on all cylinders. We got a lot of nonsense happening in Minneapolis. Massive corruption being exposed all over the country. Hang on. It's going to be a wild ride. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
With the actions he's taken, Jacob Fry is making Minneapolis a clown town. Ice Fry's a posing while Tim Walz is dozing. City has become a clown town. Ilhan Omar's hiding fraud. Keith Ellison's obstructing a war on law enforcement. Jacob Fry's conducting. Tampon Tim is so incompetent. Most Minnesotans want no more of him. It's a clown town, Minneapolis, clown town. It's far from fabulous, clown town. Once great cities become clown town, clown town.
We call them Karen. They have a whiny voice. They are all pro-choice and mostly barren. They're cat ladies. Whoa, whoa, whoa. They're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their minds. These Karens don't like ice. They often pay a price, mistakes they're making. Karenism is their curse. Could go to jail or worse for their law breaking. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their minds. He's run Minnesota in the ground. Massive fraud Timmy never found. Billions lost. Oh, what a cost. Goodness gracious, Walz is in trouble. He's obstructing ICE every day. He wants illegals to get their way. Out of control. He has no soul. Goodness gracious, Walz is in trouble. Tim is thinking they might impeach him. Should be resigning. For Minnesota, he has done no good. It's sad, so sad. As governor, he's been bad, 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 bad. Many calls for Tim Walz to step down. Minnesota can't afford this clown. Throw him in jail, deny him bail. Goodness gracious, Walz is in trouble. His impeachment is an absolute must. Tim has lost the people's trust. He's gotta go, 'cause we all know, goodness gracious, Walz is in trouble.
Here we go.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
We are firing on all cylinders here at the Trump White House. I think that the Trump's op-ed that you just talked about really laid out the case, the very, very strong case for what we've been doing. And don't forget that when we were here in the spring of last year, everybody was saying that we're going to cause a global recession and so on. And President Trump just went really into the mouth of the beast. He went to Davos and he said, hey, not only is the U.S. booming with our growth north of 5%, but you guys are booming too, because when the U.S. booms, the world booms. And so
Here's what happens when Superman comes back from the North Pole.
Reordering the world order, and it's going to end up being great for everybody. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms
he was gone for 4 years
of what you can expect in the months ahead, that we are absolutely focused like a laser beam, here on Sundays, getting ready for the President's State of the Union address, where he's going to lay out a housing agenda. And
I'm going to be hopefully broadcasting from the U.S. Capitol the day after the State of the Union.
Affordability agenda and so on. But the bottom line is that there are great, great things coming next year. All of the big, beautiful bill refunds are going to start coming into people's pockets, and we expect that will move these polls.
Yeah, okay. That was another thing I did this weekend. I did all my itemization. That was fun. Oh man, I had receipts everywhere, spread all over the place. And I'm a I'll just put it this way. I'm not the most organized person. I know this is going to come as a big surprise to everybody who I work with, but not generally the most organized person. I did that this weekend. Not very fun. Do you hear the other terrible news for the left in this country? Melania, the documentary, absolutely kicked butt. It's the highest rated documentary in a decade.
This documentary is a big success.
That's Humpty Dumpty.
We're going to get official numbers from Amazon later this morning, but already, according to the projections that are circulating in the film industry, this is the #1 documentary in terms of box office ticket sales in about a decade.
Wow.
This documentary is another example of the red-blue divide. We've seen ticket sales.
Of course, he has to throw in the political crap there.
Be a whole heck of
He's got to qualify the success of her documentary.
A lot stronger in Republican stronghold areas than we have in big blue cities. And that was to be expected.
Yeah, who cares, Brian? Honestly, who cares? It is the highest grossing documentary since that stupid piece of crap, Super Size Me. That guy who went after McDonald's because he's a communist and hates McDonald's. So there is that. So there's more good news for you. And they're still waiting on the numbers. And by the way, they're going to shut down the Kennedy Center for 2 years. I went there Saturday night, by the way. And I saw Adam Carolla. I saw Adam Carolla. It was a delightful show, actually. It was like a Gen X audience everywhere, man. It was really cool. A lot of millennials there, too. But saw Adam Carolla. Very accessible, by the way, before the show, after the show. Very funny show. Did an hour and 20 minutes. The thing that I love about stand-up comedy is that stand-up comedy is just a person with a microphone. He comes out just a person with a microphone. There's nothing else there. There's no light show. There's nothing. People are just there to hear somebody talk. And I think it's an amazing thing, stand-up comedy. I thought about doing stand-up comedy, by the way. And then Dave Chappelle said, you really don't want to do this. And I said, you're probably right. So there you go. Oh, by the way, Jim Gossett came up with something new. Melania, by the way, if I can get my computer's frozen up. Of course my computer's frozen up. 100% my computer's frozen up. All right, I'll have to restart my computer. City Taxi and Limousine Commission's partnership with Curb and demand that Curb cease its collaboration with Newsmax as a condition of licensure, given the platform's history of misinformation and disingenuous reporting. New York's just elected socialist mayor has not publicly responded to the guy's request as of Friday. City Hall declined to comment when contacted by the Post. Supporters of Newsmax told the Post that this guy's demand is simply viewpoint discrimination and censorship, which, of course, we all went through when Joe Biden was the president. You remember that? Remember when Joe Biden was the president? Yeah, he was the president. And they censored us and all of that stuff. So there's that. They did that. I know the socialists want to control everything, but this is ridiculous. I don't think anyone is getting indoctrinated by right-wing politics in the back of a cab. Trust me, you've got a lot more things to worry about in the back of a cab than that. I didn't even know people rode in cabs anymore, to be quite honest. I haven't gotten in a cab in a very long time. I usually do this thing called Uber. But I guess there are people who still drive cabs. I know, big surprise to me. Anyway, so we got a battle going on in New York City in cabs. The left, of course, wants to censor Newsmax. I would, if I were you, if you get the opportunity, support Newsmax by getting a Newsmax Plus membership, newsmaxplus.com. I keep it on all the time in my own car. I listen to Rob Schmidt and whatnot. I just listen to the Bluetooth of Newsmax. Newsmax Plus membership. Download the Newsmax app. Support free speech, by the way, and by the way, support a network that is genuinely conservative. Not all the anchors, Greta Van Susteren right down the middle, but there are real conservatives, and they don't change their viewpoint according to the news cycle. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Hello, my name is Brian Delatry, and I started taking Relief Factor just about a year ago. I was having chronic knee pain over time. It just got worse and worse. Just walking downstairs was painful. Well, since I've taken Relief Factor, the results have been just amazing. I actually walk 4 miles a day, 5 to 6 days a week. No pain at all going downstairs. Very active playing golf, and it's been really just unbelievable in the change I've had in the pain in my knee. Hope that someone who's experienced the same type of pain gives Relief Factor a try. And I guarantee if you get the results that I have, you'll be very happy. I'm going to continue using the product because I am now pain-free.
Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. Go to relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain?
This document. This documentary is a big success. We're going to get official numbers from Amazon later this morning, but already, according to the projections that are circulating in the film industry, this is the #1 documentary in terms of box office ticket sales in about a decade.
Cool.
This documentary is another example of the red-blue divide.
Yeah, I don't even care what you have to say after that. Everything you say after that is blah, blah, blah to me. This is from Jim Gossett. You'll hear it exclusively on this here radio program as the Prezi.
Documentary is out, and it is a big hit. Well, Lonnie is still mid, is now #1. Liberal critics are mad, they are throwing a big fit. When it comes to influence, they know they have none.
Pretty much, yeah, there is that.
I'm so proud to call her my wife. Well, Lonnie is great. I'm so glad that she's my wife.
I would be too.
Documentary is perfect. It's been well received. Melania gives you a look into her life. Must ignore all the haters. Do not be deceived.
There you go. That is brand new.
I'm so lucky that she's my wife.
You bet. Thank you. Jim Gossett. Go to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy. Jim Gossett Comedy. There you go. Go ahead and do that, would you? And help him out if you can. Give him $10 a month. He will send you new satire every single day. 2 pieces of comedy every day. That's just one of them for today. So there is that. I mentioned, by the way, also the Kennedy Center is going to shut down for 2 years. He says the important decision based on input from many highly respected experts will take a tired, broken, and dilapidated center, one that has been in bad condition both financially and structurally for many years. I spoke to Rick Gunnell when I was at the Kennedy Center. I've been at the Kennedy Center a couple times. And he said that they had this board of like 200 people. And the thing with the Kennedy Center was so badly financially operated that it was going bankrupt, and they fired most people. They got it down like 20% of the number of people working there, and now it's running soundly. Of course, that liberals are boycotting and not performing there because they're throwing a temper tantrum. But anyway, they're gonna shut it down for a little while, but that's okay. There's a lot of other stuff to do in Washington D.C. Trust me on this. It's a safer city because of Donald Trump. There you go. This is Kristen Welker this weekend. They're trying to break up the Republican Party. They're trying to separate us, and she tried to get Mike Johnson to talk badly about the president.
Is there any area where you do disagree with President Trump? Is there one place that you can point to?
Yes, but as I just said, we do this privately and not public. I'm going to support my president. Our party is leading. We are going. I
like Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose name will never be spoken again on this show. How about that? She is stricken. I might have to, I'll just call her MTG if I have to cover her. But as far as I'm concerned, kind of done with her.
We have closed the border. We've gotten the economy going again. We're fulfilling our promises. And that's why we're going to win the midterm election, by the way, and keep this going.
Okay.
And this is why the left is going bananas. They're going to try summer of 2020 again. They're already giving it a shot. Friday, they tried to get this after, by the way, on Inauguration Day, the anniversary of Inauguration Day, they were going to shut down the country. They did not shut down the country. Then Friday, they were going to shut down the country. They did not shut down the country. There was a lot of caterwauling. There was a big protest in Minneapolis, bought and paid for, by the way, and it didn't shut down the country. So there's that. But I'm just, I'm hoping that this summer, Donald Trump has already said he's not going to send troops to Democrat-run cities. They can just let themselves burn. Unless they ask for help, he's like, screw you, I don't even care. And I don't blame him either. Honestly, he sent in the National Guard to Los Angeles, prevented another Rodney King, whatever the hell that was, protest about ICE. But I think he's kind of like, you know what, burn yourselves down. And if you decide, business owners decide they're tired of this crap, like in Minneapolis, then we'll send some troops in. But in the meantime, we're going to jealously guard the facilities in federal facilities in these Democrat-run cities. You may recall, remember the summer of 2020 when these idiots were tearing down statues and all this? This is your Democrat Party. This is why they can't ever be in power again. This is why they need to be disappeared into the dustbin of history. They started tearing down statues. They tried to burn down St. John's historical church right across from the White House. They caused Donald Trump and Melania and Barron to go down in the bunker in the White House, okay, the summer of 2020. And Donald Trump said, if you try to tear down or destroy another statue on federal property, you're going to go to jail for 10 years. And it stopped. Here's what he is saying about attacking federal buildings. Okay, we will guard, and very powerfully so, any and all federal buildings that are being attacked by these highly paid lunatic agitators and insurrectionists. I have instructed ICE and or Border Patrol to be very forceful in this protection of federal government property. Those people will suffer an equal or more consequence. In the meantime, by a copy of this statement, I am informing local governments, as I did in Los Angeles when they were rioting at the end of the Biden term, that you must protect your own state and local property. In addition, it is your obligation to also protect our federal property, buildings, parks, and everything else. We are there to protect federal property only as a backup. If it is local and state responsibility to do so. Last night in Eugene, Oregon, those criminals broke into a federal building, did great damage, also scaring and harassing the hardworking employees. Local police did nothing to stop it. We will not let that happen anymore. So there you go. There will have to be some butt kicking, I'm sure, because they're going to push it, and they're going to push it, and they're going to push it. Don Lemon was at the Grammys this weekend. Of course, he's now, he loves this because he was completely irrelevant, and now all of a sudden he's relevant. And I did a video this weekend about Don Lemon, and everybody's saying that Don Lemon is a journalist. Even Stephen A. Smith, who honestly just talks sports because you look like an idiot, talking about it. I know you're friends with Sean Hannity, great, but Stephen Smith, honestly, stick to sports. But he's like, Don Lemon is a journalist, and I said, first of all, the attack on the church was an illegal act. It is a violation of federal law. You are disrupting the house of worship, which is guaranteed by the First Amendment. Your First Amendment to screech and yell does not give you the ability to go into private property and interrupt worship. That is a violation of the First Amendment. And that's what the group of people did, and Don Lemon went in with them. Now, listen to this. Nobody's else making this argument. I put it up all over social media. Follow me on Rob Carson Show everywhere on all my social media, Rob Carson Show. What if Don Lemon were going in with a group of people to rob a bank? It's an illegal activity. Don Lemon bought the rioters up there coffee and donuts. Don Lemon got in the way of people trying to leave the building. If Don Lemon attended a bank robbery and did the same thing, he would be considered criminal. Am I right? He participated in an illegal act, and he's using as a defense that he's a journalist. That don't fly. Just because you're a journalist doesn't mean you're immune from prosecution. He's in a lot of trouble, but he's also stupid. This is him this weekend on his little watch. Now it's being watched by morons. Tripling down on stupid.
I have so many thoughts, and what this did was really...
Oh, my God, you actually have thoughts.
Opened my eyes to a lot. So if you think that I was outspoken before this, yeah. Just wait. Just wait. So I know that there are people who think like, oh, do this and, that I'm going to be locked up or whatever. I ain't worried about that. You heard the truth and the truth shall make you free. I ain't even worried about that. Like God. Not.
You don't speak the truth. That's why you were fired from CNN.
Don't even think about it. Yeah. So whatever happens, I always think that something good is always going to happen.
Yeah.
And
even though you're a bad person, and you really are, you're not a good person at all, Don Lemon. This is Representative Randy Fine this weekend on Newsmax. Newsmax, they're trying to ban us in taxi cabs in New York City. Not going to work. But here's Randy Fine giving old Donnie a little bad news.
Can't imagine spending time in federal prison for any amount of time is a very good time. And he's going to go to prison.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no question that under the law that Joe Biden used to arrest and imprison people who were singing outside.
Like 80-year-old women singing outside an abortion clinic, throwing them in the federal prison.
An abortion clinic.
Yeah.
That law absolutely prohibits what was done inside that church. You cannot go into a religious institution and interrupt people praying because you want to have a protest.
All right, let's take a break. We got Mark in Baltimore coming up. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Oh my goodness! You may notice on the stream a little difference. I completely redid the studio this weekend, and we still have to adjust the lights and everything. By the way, Dan Bongino's back on Rumble today. Had huge numbers. I consider Dan Bongino to be a lead-in to my show. Thank you very much. Even though we operate on separate channels, I operate on the Newsmax channel on Rumble. But he had a big show, a big return to Rumble, and his departure from Rumble was very. Was not good for Rumble. I mean, we have massive numbers on Rumble. Newsmax has giant numbers on Rumble. But Rumble was really impacted by Bongino's departure, and it's going to be really nice to get him back on. And I think his show's the perfect lead-in. He's very serious. He's very, insider in all of this. Then you get to my show, which is, informed opinions and also satire, which nobody else does. Nobody does it at all. Nobody. There's one guy, and he's terrible. I mean, he's a good commentator, but his songs are terrible. He does them himself, and they're terrible. So this is one of the things that we do. And we got some big stuff coming, guys. Really big stuff. We've been invited to come over and broadcast from the Capitol the day after the State of the Union. I think that's going to be really amazing, broadcast live over there. A lot of people in Washington, D.C. who didn't know that Rob Carson existed are suddenly going, whoa. And that's good because I brought you here with me. You're here with me. That's why I'm here. So there you go. And let me see what else is going on. Got that going on. New studio, new set. And you got to look at the set. It's absolutely beautiful. It's better than most network television sets, and I did it all myself. So if you look at the studio on my social media, you realize I put up the faux brick, I put up the paneling, I put up the cityscape, I ordered the desk from overseas. By the way, I will never order anything from overseas that has to go through customs ever again. And you're like, why did you have it made in America? Because in America, when things are made for television, like a set, you take a desk, like you order a desk, or you get a desk from Walmart, or you order your desk from Office Depot, whatever. When it's for television, it costs 10 times as much. Okay, so $1,000 desk is $10,000. I was looking at desks for the studio starting at about $12,000, and that's on the cheap. And I said, nah. So I ordered from this place called Alibaba. Don't do it. Don't do Alibaba. Not for big stuff. Don't do it. Not worth it. I had to get it through customs. It cost me more to get the damn thing through customs than it cost to build it. Okay? Yeah. So don't do that. That said, it looks freaking amazing. I'm very proud of it. Some people have said it looks like a spaceship. And it does kind of look like a spaceship. It does. It's really cool. So anyway, back to Don Lemon. This is Todd Blanche talking to George Stephanopoulos, giving old Georgie a little schooling on Don Lemon. Again, if somebody says to you, well, Don Lemon was covering that raid of the church, he's a journalist. If that were a bank robbery, would you feel the same way? With him buying coffee and donuts for the bank robbers, with him marching in with the bank robbers, knowing full well what they were going to do is illegal, not warning anyone in the church, not warning anyone in the bank that the robbery is coming, then going in as the robbery took place and harassing the clergy, harassing congregants, stopping congregants from leaving. If it were a bank robbery, would you say the same thing? He's going to go to jail. He needs to go to jail. Here's George Stephanopoulos and Todd Blanche.
So when do you believe that Mr. Lemon crossed the line from reporting on what was going on to criminal activity?
Conveniently missing from what you just showed, George, is the appellate court and a judge on the appellate court who said just a few days later there was clearly probable cause and it wasn't even a close question. So, and by the way, a grand jury, which is what our system has set up to determine whether probable cause exists, concluded that there was probable cause.
Because he did the same thing that the Raiders did, and it's illegal. It's against the First Amendment. It's one of the worst things you can do.
Indictment is now public. Everybody in this country can pull it up and read for themselves and see what the grand jury found that Mr. Lemon did. I am not going to comment on the charges specifically because it's not appropriate, but it's interesting that we talk about the First Amendment right. You have a right of freedom of religion, which is just as important as any other right that we have.
You can't go into a church and do this. This is what the KKK did. The Democrat KKK did back in the early part of the 20th century.
And George, I don't know if you...
They also went into the church because they knew congregants were white. That's one of the reasons why they went into this church. The pastor's involved with ICE. He works with ICE, right? But also, they targeted the church because it's white. They did. That's racist.
If you've watched the videos or read the indictment about what it's alleged that Mr. Lemon did, but if anybody in this country thinks that is, quote, independent journalism, I would like to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, you're nuts. And I hope and pray, and I do mean this really, I pray that he goes to jail. Because he needs to go to jail for what he's done. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Brian, we still have Mark. International.
Yeah, he's still there.
All right, I'll get it. National debt. Hi, streamers. How are you? Been a rough weekend. I'll just put it that way. Been a rough weekend. The Amish make great furniture. I know that. The guy who literally took this desk apart and put it back together, by the grace of God, was a carpenter. And he took it apart and reassembled it for me. I just hired a mover. It was a miracle. It really was a miracle that guy was the guy I hired to do this. His name is Sami Ahmadi, and his brother Ahmad Ahmadi are from Afghanistan, and they are outstanding people. Outstanding people. Rob, too bad that you could not get a local woodworker to build you a great... Yeah, again, it's too bloody much money. That's what it is. So I needed to get it done. Guys. Hey, Rob, is Biden and the Clintons hiding under that desk? No, they are not. Lemmon's comments before and after the church show that he was part of the disruption. He needs to go to jail. Screw him. Honestly, I am done. I'm done with it. These are their heroes. This is the left heroes who terrify little children. One dad said, his little daughter said, "Are we going to die, Daddy?" I'm done. I want him to go to jail. I really do. It's not a Christian thing to do. I don't care. I want him to go to jail. I do. I saw you doing your show in Delaware. Hey, Karen, good to see you. That was fun, wasn't it? They were only going to do 100 people. They ended up selling the place out to like 350. It was a lot of fun. We're going to be doing something this summer. Streamers, there's going to be a trip. I suggested people come to D.C. Okay? All right, here we go.
Mark's still there.
All right. Coming up next hour, a federal judge denies a Minnesota request to halt Operation Metro Surge because the judge says it's a danger to the people in the city if ICE isn't there to enforce federal law. Oh, what? Yeah. Mark in Balmer wants to talk. Mark, welcome to the Rob Carson Show, and shalom.
Yes, good afternoon, and shalom, and go USA in the upcoming Winter Olympics in Rome, Italy, coming up this weekend.
Gotcha.
But the reason why I'm calling is economic prosperity is very important. In a little over a year, President Trump has demonstrated that America first, as far as making products here, selling products here, providing jobs, not buying overseas, not bringing our plants back into this country instead of going to other places around the world or whatever. This brings in tax, with businesses able to get tax write-offs and all that, if it's non-profit and so forth. And this is what it is. And people are spending more because that it is. Because made in America, that's the idea.
Amen.
That's what America First is all about. Make America great.
Mark, you remember, maybe years and years and years ago, you remember, Made in America was a big deal. Made in America, and they took it away, and it was gone. And Barack Obama said, "Oh, I can't do anything. I'm going to magic wand. I can't bring back manufacturing in America." And then George Bush said that there were jobs Americans won't do. He was full of crap. We are willing to get dirty. We are willing to do anything. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that work. Americans love that work. It was bull crap that he said that. He's a frat boy loser. But Made in America is coming back. I know I'm sitting at a desk that I had built abroad. I get the irony of that. I understand it. But I was kind of restricted by doing that. Go ahead, yes.
All right. Well, simply put, go USA in everything we do, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's products, whether it's science, whatever they feel a profession it is, because we're out to help the world and all that. We believe we have the experience and expertise to put together products and services and all that.
All right, brother. Got to run, Mark. Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy. Got to go. By the way, there's going to be a Grand Prix race in Washington, D.C. in August. So you got MMA fight on July the 4th. Then you're going to have a Grand Prix race through the streets of Washington, D.C. They're going to have to do some serious repairs before then. And then it's going to be amazing. So and maybe we're working on something, maybe inviting you to come here. Because the Grand Prix race, by the way, is free. You can go and watch it for free. It's going to be remarkable. We're in our 250th year anniversary. It's going to be the greatest year ever. The left is going to try to burn down the country. They're not going to succeed. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. I'll be back.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2. Got the studio rearranged here. It's kind of like putting on new shoes, and they're very uncomfortable. And so the first hour of the show is kind of uncomfortable. You may not have felt it because I am a broadcast professional after all. But it was a little uncomfortable. It still isn't like this. The countertop is too high. It's like, usually a counter comes up to your belt approximately, depending on how tall you are. If you're little bitty, it's going to be a little bit different. But for me, it comes up about to my waistline, right? It's about 36 inches, there. This is a little bit higher. And so the chair that I normally sitting in is too low. So I'm sitting on cushions right now. It's uncomfortable. It's just kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But, I'm getting by. I'm getting by doing what I have to do. Doing what I got to do to get this thing done. But great things are happening in Washington, D.C. I've been here 6 months. The left is going bat-guano crazy. It is frustrating for me to watch this nonsense happening, these protests and whatnot. And I want the president and I want the authorities to kick some butt. I said that, our strategy should be, we got to win the midterms, obviously. We got to do everything we can to win the midterms. We got to, keep on the pressure. Don't take anything for granted, but I don't think the Democrats are going to stand a chance because they're so awful and all the good news that's happening in the country. But the left is going to try to create the summer of 2020 this summer. They're already lining up on the wrong side of everything. The media's on the wrong side of everything. There is an absolute vacuum with regard to any good news coming out of the administration, any good news on the economy. The average worker has already gained at least $1,000 in their paychecks, and those of you on Social Security are going to get no taxes. The largest raise in Social Security in the history of Social Security, just by getting rid of the federal tax on it. So you just got a major raise, Social Security recipients. You got a major raise. If you haven't even got a check yet, I'm sure you have. You had to notice. It's going to be pretty amazing for you. And then no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. You buy an American car. I think if you make under $250,000 a year, if you buy an American car, you can write off the interest. And as I've said, anyone who sells cars knows, and I did, that the first couple years you got that car, that payment is interest. Mostly interest that first couple years. Then you can get out on the principal. All right? You got this new Fed chair coming in, Warsh. His name's Warsh, like do the Warsh. He's going to be jumping into the Federal Reserve in June, and rates are going to come down. I had a wonderful time this weekend. I hung out with a news reporter from Newsmax. Logan Raddick is his name. And we went and saw the Adam Carolla at the Kennedy Center, and I had a great deal of time to talk to him. He was a first-time home buyer. He and his wife have been married a couple of years, and they're getting ready to have a family and all that. And the home prices around here are stupid. I don't know how you can afford to buy a home in Washington, D.C. The average price where I live is $700,000 for a stupid house. And if you couldn't buy a crappy townhouse for $400,000 in this area. It's awful. I don't know who affords. I don't even know who affords. Where I live, this little enclave, the little row homes down here near the Potomac start at $1.5 million. For less than 1,000 square feet and go up from there. Generally, it's $1.5 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $4 million, $4 million, $3 million. Who lives here? Well, a bunch of elite liberals live here, of course. Not me, though. I rent. But there's a lot of great things coming down the pike. Price of gas is way down. Price of everything's coming down. And they're going to make it seem like everything is terrible, everything's awful. I love these reports. They always couch these reports when anything positive comes out of the Trump administration. But do Americans feel it? Do they feel the price of this is going down? Do they feel it yet? They always throw that in there. They did nothing. They reported nothing when inflation was 9%. 1 year during the Biden administration. I remember it. I was in the thick of it. I was selling cards. I watched people come out of retirement to work at grocery stores, to work themselves to death. I watched the price of hamburger go from, $3 a pound to $6 a pound. I watched chicken breast go from $1.88 a pound to $2.98 on sale. I watched it all. I took copious notes. I lived it. They didn't give a rat's behind when we were suffering under Joe Biden's presidency, and it was a bleep show supreme. So a lot of good things are going to happen. They're going to try and burn down the country and do a lot of crap, and we need to stay positive. Overwhelm them with joy and patriotism. Be motivated. Share how important it is to vote on social media. Maybe get involved in local politics. They got a petition going to shut down this Spamberger administration, go after her legally for basically lying about the party platform to get elected, and then basically running the state as a communist. That's in the state of Virginia. I moved here. This woman, this crazy, bat-guano crazy governor, it ran as a moderate, got into office, and now the Democrat Party is proposing monstrous tax increases, 50 new tax increases, even though the state has a $2.7 billion surplus. The green energy nonsense. Electric bills are going to go up 4 times. She lied and misrepresented herself. The Democrat Party in this state lied and misrepresented themselves to get elected and then got into office, and they are doing basically what Zohran Mamdani did and is doing here. This is Jen Kiggins of Virginia talking about what they're doing.
Hey, it's Congresswoman Jen Kiggins. 2 weeks ago today, I attended the inauguration of our new governor, and her theme during the speech she gave was United for Virginia's Future. Well, I must say that the past 2 weeks have been anything but unifying for Virginia. We are literally making national news about what's happening here and what the Democrats in the General Assembly have proposed. They've proposed 50-plus new bills to increase your taxes. Yeah. I'm worried about the message they're sending to law enforcement. They have a lot of anti-law enforcement bills, what they're doing to places like the Virginia Military Institute.
They are planning on corrupting the voting system so they can vote 2 weeks late. No mail-in ballots, no recounts, no hand counts of ballots. They are trying to steal the elections here. They are going to allow charities to get federal money and not have any scrutiny about their finances whatsoever. You cannot question even when they're fraudulent. That's how corrupt this Democrat Party is.
Who provides hundreds of new officers for our military every year. Just the regulatory burdens that they're inflicting on our small businesses. I just got back from the grocery store. I heard from 3 people, 2 who were upset about VMI, another lady who said she's literally losing sleep every night, just worried about what's happening to our Commonwealth. The changes you see in this General Assembly, they're going to hurt Virginia. It's an embarrassment on the world stage. We'll be sure and keep you guys.
Yeah, well, how about do something about it? Republican Party, you blew the election by putting a terrible candidate as the governor. She's done politically, how about a good candidate? That would have been nice. That would have been nice. But no, they did not. They chose an armadillo, a person with the personality of an armadillo to run. And then, of course, the Democrat Party lied. It should not be a legal election, by the way. I mentioned this earlier in a video. The party has a convention, adopts a platform that is presented to the voters vote on that. That's the way it has to work. That's the way it has to work. Communist Party, when they put up their agenda and they vote on their platform and the American people vote on it, what do they say? No, we don't want any of that crap. This woman, this wretched, awful, crazy cat lady, Karen, Abigail Spamberger, lied. The Democrat Party in the state of Virginia lied. They lied and misrepresented every one of the things that they do, every one of the policy provisions that they've done. They did not say they wanted to do it. They did not say vote for us to make this happen. This cannot stand. This cannot stand. I'm the only person in America saying this. You cannot bait and switch on an election like this. You cannot say you're Democrats, say you're moderates, and lie, get into office, and become communists. That can't happen. We are a representative republic. We are a representative republic. We are not a democracy. We are a representative republic. When people vote for you, they vote for what they espouse, you espouse. And if you bait and switch and when you get office, that cannot be legal. This cannot stand. It cannot stand. So I'm hoping, I signed the petition this weekend to get the ball rolling to legally challenge Abigail Spamberger and these other morons. I want to mention something. This is kind of funny. a lot of bull crap about this Don Lemon story, and I've told you if you discuss it with somebody and you say, well, Don Lemon was just a reporter, realize that Don Lemon went in with a group he knew were going to commit an illegal act. He participated. He bought them coffee and donuts. He got in there and he participated in blocking people from leaving, and he had a microphone. He was interviewing people. That doesn't make him a journalist. And I said, if he did the same thing with a bank robbery, where he talked to them outside and said, okay, you're going to go in and rob the bank, then went in rather than warning them, there's going to be a bank robbery, you might want to get out of here. Same illegality. On the other side, Don Lemon's lawyer talks about and complains about how he was arrested. I'm going to juxtapose that with how conservatives have been arrested on the other side of the break. Let's take a break now. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee, 'cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That goal, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine.
3,500 arrests ICE has made so far. How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals.
She's no KJP. More like Kaylee and Sarah. Her first press briefing was strong. She deals in facts, not liberal propaganda. We have been lied to for so long. And raise your hand. Be polite, or she won't call on you. Meet Caroline, kicking butt and taking names. She's not inclined to let reporters play their games. Sweet Caroline.
101.9 FM in Harford County.
Okay.
Relentlessly slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
It is a Rob Carson Show. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Brigadier General Blaine Holt is going to join us, talk about what's going on in Iran and all of that noise. Gayle King tried to bait Liz Warren on Don Lemon. Now, it's interesting. So one thing you didn't notice this weekend is that NBC, they gave very little coverage to Don Lemon. Gayle King this morning tried to bait Liz Warren into saying, yeah, what happened to Don Lemon was illegal. The only people who are saying what happened to Don Lemon is illegal is MSNBC and CNN. The networks are reticent because they know he did something wrong. It sounds like Liz Warren knows it too.
Why are there no Republicans, not one, saying that no one is above the law, that this is all about politics? It's hard not to see it. It's hard not to see a political lens on this, is it not?
I can't answer for the Republicans. I can only answer for myself.
Well, I thought she should say, oh, of course it was. Of course the Republicans are targeting Don Lemon.
And for myself, it's about backing off and letting the system work. Trust in
that almost sounds like they got a case against him that's pretty rock solid.
Process. There is no reason to believe there's been anything other than an independent investigation.
Wow.
It's walked through all the steps. It is a grand jury, according to the evidence released, that has voted independently. And we will go forward with that process. And that process offers plenty of opportunity for Donald Trump or anyone else accused of a crime to bring forward whatever evidence they want, to use whatever part of the legal system they want. But
that is the most measured I've ever heard her. That is the most measured I've ever heard her. And I don't think that bodes well for Donnie. I don't think it did very well for Donnie. Not at all. His lawyer was on this weekend complaining about how he was arrested with gin sake. You ready for some hot sake? Yeah, gin sake on MS Now.
They didn't do it just in the way you're supposed to. They wanted it to be terrifying. Mm-hmm. They wanted it to be intimidating. They wanted it to create fear.
Okay, now listen, he contradicts himself.
So he lives in New York. It's not Minneapolis. He's going to Los Angeles to do his job, which is to cover, in this case, the Grammys this weekend.
Sure.
They wait until he's in Los Angeles. That's not enough. Yeah. They waited until 11:30 at night.
Why did they wait till 11?
When he was coming back for...
when he was coming back from the Grammys. He wasn't home, you see, you moron. Yeah, he didn't. They waited for him at home. The reason why they did it at 11 is because he got home at 11.
Doing what he does in the lobby of a hotel, and not one, not two, not three, but the bevy of agents surround and take him away. Don thought he was being mugged.
Did you realize that they brought in agents by land and sea for the raid on Mar-a-Lago? Did you know that? Oh, the same way with Roger Stone. Here's CNN. Listen to this. So for those of you complaining that the arrest of Don Lemon was somehow heavy-handed, CNN was tipped off to the arrest of Roger Stone. Okay, and he was mobbed by armed agents.
This is CNN breaking
news. Listen to this. It's amazing.
In the breaking news this morning, the FBI has arrested Roger Stone, the president's political advisor. Yeah. Exclusive footage you're looking
because they tipped off CNN
at right now from CNN as the FBI arrives at Roger Stone's residence in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, taking him,
nonviolent offender,
into custody. We understand he
didn't raid a church and terrify any congregants.
Will be arraigned in Fort Lauderdale later this morning.
Sure.
Indicted on 7 counts. 1 count of obstruction, 5 counts of making false statements, 1 count of witness tampering.
Okay.
Again, they arrived.
He didn't raid a church.
Before dawn.
Before dawn. Okay, in the dark, not 11 p.m. at a hotel.
Or 6 a.m. or just after 6 a.m. A dozen officers were told. The FBI agent shouted, FBI warrant, and you can see it all play out right here.
Yeah. Guns drawn and everything.
This is just remarkable. It's just remarkable to watch, what they call...
Listen to that.
That's an FBI, open the door.
There you go, pounding on the door. Actually, that's a little intimidating.
Another warning.
Yeah. Long guns blazing.
This is called, the grab shot.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. So honestly, wow, really, wow. If Democrats didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all. As my friend Chris Plant likes to say, here's Donald Trump asked about Don Lemon on Air Force One.
About the Don Lemon thing, but he's a sleazebag. Everyone's known that. He's a wash-up. Probably from his standpoint, the best thing that could happen to him. He's getting, he had no viewers. He was a failure. He was a failed host, and now he's in the.
Yeah, now he's somebody. Now he can claim victim. He can claim victim. Here's Jamel Hill claiming that his arrest was racist.
We need to remind ourselves of the racial element of this.
No, we don't.
There is a reason why I think
they raided the church because it was white.
The reason why Donald Trump not only picked independent journalists, but black journalists in particular.
No, not at all. Actually, he was just the only journalist who took part in the church raid ever.
Clearly, we know there's no love lost between Don Lemon and Donald Trump, that he's been very critical of.
They arrested a white journalist at the church, too.
The president they've gone back and forth. But if we go back and undo all the layers of all of this, it was black journalists that were really at the forefront of calling Donald Trump out, from the birtherism movement throughout.
No, it wasn't really.
A lot of the things that they saw.
No. 97% of the press coverage, black, white, purple, green, whatever the hell, have been against Donald Trump. So there's that. Honestly. See, and this is when you know they're losing the argument. When they're losing the argument. Oh, my God. And here's Nakia Armstrong. She is with Black Lives Matter. She's the one who led the march, the terrorizing the congregates march when she got arrested.
We had belly chains around our waist, and we had handcuffs with bars in the middle.
Yeah.
As someone who majored in African American studies.
She majored in African American studies. So now she's flashing that badge.
I can tell you that is the closest I ever felt to slavery in my life.
That is really weird. If she ever felt like a slave when she went on a ship. I wonder if she felt like that, or when she drives by a field. It's kind of weird. I grew up on a farm in Iowa, and I had to work involuntarily in fields as a kid, and well into my teens. I didn't get paid a dime. So I guess who's a little closer to that than her? She had to wear some handcuffs because she committed a crime. Oh, my God, I love it. I just love it. All right, I'm done talking about them. Done talking about them. Federal judge denies Minnesota's request to temporarily halt to Operation Metro Surge. Federal Judge Kate Menendez, obviously not a cat lady, denied Minnesota's motions for a temporary restraining order to halt Operation Metro Surge Saturday. The court documents filed on Saturday says that Minnesota and its cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, have not met their burden of truth. Because there is evidence supporting both sides' argument as to motivation and the relative merits of each side, competing positions are unclear. The court is reluctant to find the likelihood of success factors weighs sufficiently in favor of granting preliminary injunction. They also said a court of appeals determined that the injunction would cause irreparable harm to the government because it would hamper their efforts to enforce federal law. You see, if that injunction went too far, then halting the entire operation certainly would as well. There you go. Yeah. And then Jacob Fry said, of course, we're disappointed. The decision doesn't change what people here have lived through: fear, disruption, and harm caused by federal operations. You know what? I think people of Minnesota are sick and damn tired of this nonsense, to be quite honest. I think they're sick and damn tired of people going into Target for some stupid, inane reason. These crazy Karens are going into Targets, like Target has anything to do with federal immigration enforcement, but they eat their own. They're going to their favorite politically incorrect or correct store, their favorite woke store, and actually they're injuring themselves. That's how much self-loathing they are. All right, so coming up, Brigadier General Blaine Holt on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Brian Delatry, and I started taking Relief Factor just about a year ago. I was having chronic knee pain. Over time, it just got worse and worse. Just walking downstairs was painful. Well, since I've taken Relief Factor, the results have been just amazing. I actually walk 4 miles a day, 5 to 6 days a week. No pain at all going downstairs. Very active playing golf, and it's been really just unbelievable in the change I've had in the pain in my knee. Hope that someone who's experienced the same type of pain gives Relief Factor a try. And I guarantee if you get the results that I have, you'll be very happy. I'm going to continue using the product because I am now pain-free.
Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. Go to relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? We are going to be joined by Brigadier General, retired, Blaine Holt. One moment. Donald Trump asked about the Ayatollah, saying that if Donald Trump attacks Iran, a regional war could break out.
On Iran, the Supreme Leader today said that U.S. attack could spark a regional war. Giving you response to that?
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close. couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether...
Yeah, joining us to talk about that, of course, Brigadier General Blaine Holt. How are you on this glorious Monday, my friend?
It is a glorious Monday. A whole lot is happening. I'm doing great.
Yeah, so... my opinion is there won't be a regional war because nobody supports Iran. What are your thoughts on a regional war, as the Ayatollah says, if the United States attacks Iran?
Well, so I feel strongly about that both ways, Rob. On the one side, if we put the Ayatollah into a place where it's game over, you could easily see them throwing a Hail Mary pass, which equates to a storm of 3,000 ballistic missiles at the same time. Here's why they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that because President Trump has been working behind the scenes all weekend long on the phone with Iran, nearly the entire weekend with his team, negotiating what is going to be their end game. But we had to show some real knives. I believe that they have shown the mullahs and the Ayatollah that we know where all their stuff is, like their gold bars, their yachts, their assets. And it's going to be, so the war's been fought in a different way. You had the 7 attention-getting explosions in Iran on Friday, and President Trump is looking to wrap it up this way. And then the Iranian people can take matters into their own hands, maybe a bomb here or there to help them out.
Yes.
But I think it's really going to be the end game. What we don't want to see is spiraling violence, not just in that region, but spiraling violence here if they activate a bunch of terror cells that would be orphaned if the Ayatollahs left. So we got to be very careful, but the president's on the right track.
So, okay, we know that Joe Biden opened up the southern border. We know that there are a lot of terrorists here. And you think that there's a possibility they're just awaiting their marching orders?
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Marching orders that we hope never comes. Because if we orphan them, then you could see the next deal being, hey, look, if you're Hezbollah, Tren de Aragua, or Iran's IRGC operating inside of our country, here's your chance. You've lost your life support. The money's gone.
Yeah.
So you may as well find a way to get an off-ramp without hurting or killing Americans. I can see that being the next thing. But right now, that is a clear and present danger that the president is weighing as he weighs what to do in the Middle East. Now, the ultimate backstop is the United States military's got this covered. If we need to reorient Iran, we can do that. But what we want to do is preserve this revolution for the Iranian people and let them get to self-determination.
You had mentioned ballistic missiles. The last, couple of years, Israel has been successfully defending himself with very few exceptions against a barrage of missiles and whatnot coming from Hamas and Iran. You think that would overwhelm the Golden Dome that they have if Iran decided to do something like this?
So it just gets to be a numbers game in a barrage, which would be trading missiles back and forth. Those events were 300 to 600 missile events. This would be everything they have left because they know there's no tomorrow. So it would be, well, I'm going to be martyred anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and light up the Middle East. And those systems are going to have a hard time with not a 600 missile barrage, but a 2,500 missile barrage. And so enemy gets a vote. You have to reconcile that. But this is not to say that this is hopeless. We would just have to take a very offensive stance towards Iran and its capabilities at that point in time to stop that from happening.
Right now, we're only hearing about the United States acting autonomously. We've got a flotilla. Donald Trump has said is as large as what was off Venezuela. That's hard to fathom when you consider how large the flotilla off Venezuela was, because it was massive. Obviously, we've been talking now for over a week and a half. They're real close to where they need to be to really kick some ass and take some names. And by the way, most of those names would be Muhammad. Thought I'd throw that in there. But they are. I know that Donald Trump is being very deliberate. He's not gonna just have the ships there for no good reason. And I would hope that one of the things that he's negotiating is the exit of the Ayatollah. That has to be it. There has to be he has to go. That has to be it. You can't say, oh, you got to stop killing people and you can stay in power. Blaine, it's got to be that you got to get your ass out of here.
Oh no, this is the exit game. They don't get to keep their regime out of this deal either way.
Good.
One way you're going to be seeing Allah really soon. The other way you might have an exile location. But we're going to help the Iranian people take back their country and self-determine. And so, yes, the preference and what my sources are telling me over the weekend is that we're being very successful because the president is bringing whopper amounts of leverage to the conversations with them that they had no idea we had the ability to do. Wow. And that involves, you could leave Iran and you could be destitute, like with nothing to your name. Believe me, we know how to go get that stuff from you.
Yeah, and Bassett's been saying that too. Bassett's been saying if you want to take pallets of cash with you, ain't going to happen.
No, not going to happen at all. So I think, and again, this will rewrite books in every war college in the United States because it's that precursor. Instead of just going right to the sledgehammer option, which all the previous presidents have done, this president's going to the Sun Tzu playbook and going, why do we need to throw a bomb at these guys? Let's just put the ships off the coast, get their attention and respect, and then let's tell them what we really intend to do to them.
That's pretty remarkable.
In a demilitarized way, and then we could get to the Abraham Accords so much quicker.
As someone who served through a good share of a 20-year war with Afghanistan, this has got to be such a relief to not only our retired service members, but also active duty, that we have a president who is being so deliberate and so careful and so strategic, like with getting Maduro out without, he killed a bunch of Cubans, a bunch of their guards and whatnot. But that's got to be such a relief to see the military used in such a fashion, Blaine.
Absolutely correct. Peace through strength. My time goes all the way back to WW Mogadishu.
Yep.
And these are all worthless adventures that netted us nothing but misery, pain, loss, blood, and treasure.
Yes.
Bankers and defense industrialists made a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And that continues today in Europe to this time. So a demilitarized foreign policy actually helps us sharpen our blade to give the president as a military that insurance policy he needs so that we are an iron backstop so that when he says, well, if you don't want to do it one way, we can do it another way, we mean what we say. And this president has absolutely, in my view, used the military the way that our founders had always intended.
It really
no
is.
Entanglements. Let's limit ourselves, but then in and out, let's be efficient.
Speak softly, carry a big stick, right, brother?
And have an end plan.
Although he doesn't speak softly.
Yeah, no, he really doesn't.
He does not. Hey, I want to cover some of this civil unrest after the break. If you can hang on for a second there, I'd really appreciate it. Yep. Brigadier General Blaine Holt, Dangerous Intellectuals is the name of his podcast. It's called Dangerous Intellectuals. You should listen to it. It's a really good podcast, by the way. He's a good storyteller. And he gets a lot of great guests on there, stuff you're never going to hear anywhere else. Dangerous Intellectuals. Take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Life insurance is one. you've ever wondered how protests happen on the spot, this is exactly how. Without organizers, without the music, without the bullhorns, without all of these people coming together. And right now what they're doing is they're loading their trucks to leave out of here after they finish with the protest. None of the protests that you see that happen immediately after something happens, which is all the time now, wouldn't be possible. What's behind me is a combination of Party for Socialism and Liberation. We have Democrat Socialists of America here as well, and a couple very loose communist organizations like Revolution.
This is about overturning the country. This is about making America into the former Soviet Union. It's not going to work, but it's just a matter of how much damage they're willing to inflict on the American people with these nonsense, destructive protests. I really want to see some butt kicking. I really, really am tired of these children. But Brigadier General Blaine Holt on the Newsmax hotline. This is what this is about. This is about a communist overthrow of the country. It's been going on forever. Now they see that they've been exposed and they're getting more desperate, and I predict they're going to become even more violent this summer. What do you think?
They really are. They're running out of time. But these paid insurgents, and they are paid. This is a paid army. This is not an organic movement. This money comes from NGOs. That money comes from our taxpayer dollars a lot, and these billionaire people who want to overthrow the United States and take out our Constitution. But a lot of this stuff is popping off right now. And you should equate, when we had the 700 ballot boxes getting lifted out of Atlanta, and wait, the DNI is there, Tulsi Gabbard. That made the whole world start crying and screaming and falling apart, from Senator Mark Warner to all of these riots and anti-ICE things gaining traction. But they're also covering up billions upon billions upon billions in fraud.
Oh.
But now that their crimes are going to start slipping into the light, you're going to see even more information operations, psychological operations, and riots as the response from the bad guys. So, massive Epstein release. On the day that they get the Atlanta thing done. The release has some cooked intelligence in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So now we have to unpack that and find out where all of this stuff is. But you are in a fifth-generation warfare environment right now.
I know we are. And the reason why Tulsi Gabbard was in Atlanta, because it became an international incident. This is not just Democrats in America. This is a movement that is an election fraud and theft and upsetting the balance of power from outside as well, collaborating with outside individuals. It's so funny. The voting machines are made in Venezuela.
Yeah, no, this is exactly right.
Yeah.
It's all related. Go to Maduro, go to Atlanta, go to where this fraud is sitting, go to the exposures of it. Yeah. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to fight back with their own cooked intelligence, because we're dealing with elements, or rogue intelligence units. This is what the deep state is. So in one case, you had good FBI folks that were handling the raids very efficiently down in Atlanta. Wait a minute. Did we see any FBI backing up our ICE brothers and sisters up in Minneapolis? Don't they have a field office up there? Yeah, of course they do. So what we see is that the swamp itself is embroiled in this cold civil war, so to speak. But you just tell me how people are getting paid, and I'll tell you what team they're playing for. And it doesn't matter party. Party does not matter here. It's both sides of the aisle.
Now, Maduro was taken out for a number of reasons. How big a factor was his involvement in election interference in America?
Just massive. It's massive because, first off, he didn't. He's been thumbs up with us the entire way through. You're looking at a big sweetheart deal.
Wow. So you think he's going to sing? You think he's going to sing?
It's sung. Got the verb wrong. he sang.
Really?
and oh yes. And so that's why they confidently went down to Atlanta and grabbed what they did.
Whoa.
And I believe what we're going to find out, at least the source is helping me out with this. Atlanta was really the epicenter of foreign influence going into that city, and then working in the other cities of the other swing states where we saw all this nonsense. Look, they're trying so hard to spackle over their crimes, but we have never been this close to exposing it all. And the president is very right. Take the war to the cartels, then start to expose the election fraud of 2020. If you cast the fishnet on the 2020 election net, you're going to get so many crooked people in the swamp. So before we all get lathered up about the midterms, ask yourself, if they really start rounding up folks, how many incumbents are there going back into Congress?
Very, very interesting. And then trying to remember who said it last week. It said that there were several members of Congress who were not legally there. I'm trying to remember the congressman who brought that up. Anyway, brought up Trump this weekend said that he's not going to get troops involved in violence in Democrat-run cities. He did say, however, if you try to put the heavy on a federal building, he's going to kick your butt, kind of like he did with tearing down statues in the summer of 2020. How do you feel about his burn your own damn cities down, we don't care, we're going to stay out of it? How do you feel about that decision?
I think it's brilliant because, he could change his mind tomorrow. So this is what the president's doing. He is using today's messaging. They'll make plans on that. Lo and behold, he changes the plan. So a lot of people are like, well, where's the Insurrection Act? Well, hold up, he hasn't made it yet. Yeah. In other words, the president's he's not predictable. His unpredictability is one of his greatest weapons. Yes. And the little communist hooligans, I love that term of that soundbite you had where the guy is, loose communist. There's no such thing as a loose communist, okay? Yes. They're communists.
Yes.
And the president is making them pull their hair out.
Yeah. It's funny. They wanted a big shutdown walkout on January the 6th this year. Did not work. They wanted a big walkdown, shut down a whole deal on Friday. Didn't work. Nobody's listening to their nonsense. The average American, even the average Minnesotan is sick and tired of this crap.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had it. I mean, and my friends in Minnesota have just absolutely, they're all talking, my friends in Minnesota are all talking about running for office no matter what, and they're not even politicians, which is exactly what we need in this nation, citizen servant leaders.
Yeah, and by the way, this David Koch who worked with Nick Shirley, he's testifying, and then so is Waltz and Ellison, and he has some dirt on Klobuchar, who's planning on running for governor up there, and I hope this explodes. I want to see people perp walked in handcuffs, spend the damn rest of their lives in prison. I'm so bloody done with this crap.
Our friend Catherine Harris has been spending an awful lot of time looking at them build stuff down at Gitmo, I'm just saying.
Ooh, that would be cool. Club Gitmo reopen, baby.
There's your teaser. There's your teaser.
I love it. Oh, man, I love this. I thought they were going to reopen, Alcatraz for that. But,
well, you need a lot of them.
Could do either one.
Put everybody at one stop.
Oh, man, that would be huge. All right, Blaine Holt, thank you so much. Where can people find your glorious work and, of course, your podcast, Dangerous Intellectuals?
Come to dangerousintellectuals.com. Today I'm talking with one of America's premier AI talents to talk about the goods and the bads of artificial intelligence. You can see me at Newsmax.com on the Insiders page. And, brother, we're always on Newsmax, which is wonderful.
You are the best, man. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right, kids. I can't tell you. The first hour of the show today, I was so uncomfortable because everything's been switched around in here. The studio was completely upside down, and it's finally started to calm down. I'm still sitting in a very uncomfortable chair, but it has come around. I hope you're enjoying the show. Got a lot of comments on, geez, you guys are going crazy on social today. Going crazy on the stream. What is this? Get off of there. We're getting and it's kind of funny because we get some trolls. We've been getting a little more trollage in the chat and the group chat, and you guys are great about going after them like piranhas on a calf's leg. But we're getting more of it. You know why? Because more people are seeing it. More people are seeing it. It's growing dramatically. There've been a lot of people in talk radio for decades. Their audiences aren't growing. They've reached their pinnacle. This show is a fresh voice in talk radio. And as we add affiliates, it's going to get even bigger. And as people discover how right the show is, the trolls are starting to come out and comment. So there you go. But we also have some new names who are watching as well. And some people are all our favorites like America Marcy over there. And Mickey Hastings on the YouTube. It's good to see you there. And on Facebook, of course, Vicky. All you guys. Great to see you. Karen Sharkey, you're new. I haven't seen you here before. That's great. Got Lady Vu on the Rumble. I know we're going to get some more Rumble because Bongino's back on Rumble. And that's going to mean bigger numbers for everybody. It's going to mean big numbers for everybody. So welcome all of the new people who will join us, like Tex John O, whatever. Glad to see you. I know that my Rumbly-Roo fans and my Facebook fans, my YouTube fans are going to welcome new listeners with lots of love. Give them lots of love. Welcome to the show.
About 3 minutes.
There's the Rob Carson Show. By the way, price of gold way down. Oh my God, what does that mean? Well, it means it's a buyer's market. It's a buyer's market. It went up to about $5,500. Remember last week? And then it just went. You know why? People were selling it. People were profit taking. That's what they did. What does that mean for you? You can buy gold for $800 to $1,000 less an ounce this week. Oh, what? I bought at the exact right time. I'm buying gold at more than about $1,000 less than it was a week and a half ago. I bought at the right time. I never buy at the right time. I always screw up. But with Birch Gold, I didn't screw up. I transferred to 401k. It was just laying there like Joe Biden on the beach. And boom, I got in at the right time. You can get at the right time right now at Birch Gold. Silver's down. Silver's $78. It was at $113, $116 about a week and a half ago. People sold their silver. Now there's more. Now there's more. So you can pick it up cheaper. This doesn't happen very often, guys. You saw the stratospheric rise of gold and silver, going from $2,600 to $5,600 in a year. Then people said when one day last week, it went up $500 in one day, and people said, I'm selling. My gold went up $500 today. I've got, 20 ounces, 10 ounces, whatever. I'm going to profit take, and they did, and now that's an opportunity for you. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Do you think gold is going to sit here? Considering what's going on in the world with the central banks, they're still buying gold. They're going to try and buy up a bunch of this gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898, and I would do it this week because right now you have a buying opportunity that you didn't have 2 weeks ago. And now what do? We wait for another meteoric rise. In the meantime, you buy it cheaper than it was a week ago, and you get a hell of a good deal. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold. They are A+ rated from the Better Business Bureau. They have my money. I trust them. I know you can trust them. Of all of the places you can buy gold, and there are a million of them, it's this gold, it's that gold, it's USA Plus Gold, yay, go America Gold, whatever the hell. No. Birch Gold Group. That's who I deal with. Birch Gold Group. Rob to 989898. No obligation, just information. Get you on the right path, and an opportunity for you is an unprecedented opportunity for you to buy while it's down a little, and then watch it go up again. How about that? We're going to talk about the Grammys in a little while here, next hour. Also, Scott Besson had some really good stuff. It's going to be good. One more hour of the Rob Carson Show is right ahead. If I were you, I wouldn't go anywhere.
And now, you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show, and we've got a ton of stuff to get to, a little bit on the Grammys. I got to spend a lot of time on the Grammys because, you know, screw the Grammys and screw the idiots in the crowd. Ketanji Brown Jackson was there. She was up for a Grammy. She read a book. It was like the first book she ever read. And so she was up for a Grammy for reading. That woman is so dumb she couldn't read a coffee table book. That's how dumb Ketanji Brown Jackson is. She didn't win last night because it was the first book she read, and she was up for a Grammy for it. So there is that. And we're going to get into a little bit of that. And as far as the Super Bowl this weekend, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not encouraging you to. I'm not, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not in the position to demand anything. I'm not, I'm not willing to say, oh yeah, I'm influential enough to get everybody to stop watching the Super Bowl. I don't care if you watch the Super Bowl. I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm done with it. And Bad Bunny last night, this jackass, he hates America. He rips on America, and of course they're all about ice out, and they're trained seals in the audience. They're trained seals. Of course, they would never at the Grammys. They would never want illegals staying at their house. But by God, like for instance, Billie Eilish, she's a singer, brilliant. She and her brother are like the Carpenters, but insane. And so it's like Karen and Richard Carpenter, but insane. And here's Billie Eilish, virtue signaling after winning a Grammy. I think she won for best song, whatever. And she said that we're on stolen land.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Yeah. You live in a $14 million mansion on stolen land. Would you invite any illegals to come and live in your $14 million mansion? Of course not, because you virtue signal, and it gives you a level of importance that otherwise you would not have, because you're not very important. Here is Olivia Dean, and this is. Here's what happens when you have young people who are ignorant of history. We are all sons and daughters of immigrants. My biological family, the Getz family, they were the German. They came from Germany after the turn of the last century. They tilled fields, worked their asses off to feed the rest of the country. And then there are the Pauli family. I'm a son of immigrants. Most of us are sons of immigrants. We're all sons of immigrants. Every one of us. They're all, a lot of us came here, the Mayflower. We're immigrants, okay? We've always been immigrants. But these idiots at the Grammys act like, people only started immigrating now. Listen to this moron, Olivia Dean.
Yes, I want to say I'm up here as a granddaughter of an immigrant. I wouldn't be...
Yeah, yippee skippy, I'm the grandson of an immigrant. What the hell? Really? Who gives a crap?
Be here.
Woo, yeah, we just discovered immigration. Oh my God. Woo, virtue signal.
Yeah, I'm a product of bravery, and I think those people deserve to be
Well, you certainly are brave, getting up there and saying that you're the granddaughter of immigrants. And I'll bet you everybody who's listening right now is probably the granddaughter or grandson of immigrants, or great-great-grandson.
Celebrated.
Yeah, we're so important. We're ignorant. We don't know anything, but all of a sudden we think we're cool. Here is a Bad Bunny, this moron. He won Best Artist or whatever, and he's going to be at the Super Bowl, which I'm not going to watch because he's halftime entertainment, and Green Day is opening the Super Bowl, and for some reason the NFL thinks they need to virtue signal and say end racism in the field, the end zone and all that. I'm not watching it. I don't give a flying rip about either team, and it's a damn shame that the NFL has done this. So I'm just not going to watch it. Here is Bad Bunny.
Before I say thanks to God.
And listen to the seals, the trained seals in the audience. Go nuts, okay? Go nuts. And by the way, this will be the lowest rated Grammys ever, by the way. You're going to find this out very soon.
I'm going to say eyes out.
There you go. That's your bumper sticker. Yay. Well, I'm out of the Super Bowl because you're going to be doing the halftime show. I'm done, man. I'm done. Dun, 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 dun. Then, of course, there was, let's see, Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah. Nobody watches Trevor Noah. I don't even think he has a job. He doesn't have a full-time job anymore. He's working. He was at Comedy Central forever. And because Nicki Minaj bravely was not one of the trained SEALs, she came to the White House to celebrate these wonderful savings accounts for children that when they're 30 years old, they can have hundreds of thousands of dollars. Unlike Social Security, which is a giant pyramid scheme, she had the audacity to support savings accounts for children. And here's this jackweed making fun of her because she wasn't there.
John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here.
Woo, yeah, woo.
She is.
Everybody loved Nicki Minaj. Everybody loved Elon Musk. Everybody loved Donald Trump before they were conservative.
She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki.
This is what the elites do. You know, they stand inside the castle walls. They say, "Let them eat cake." Then eventually, they get their rear ends handed to them, and that's what we're going to do. Yeah, in the midterms, for sure. Donald Trump said he's going to sue this jackweed Trevor Noah over this comment.
Song of the year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Here's what Donald Trump said about that jackweed. The Grammy Awards are the worst, virtually unwatchable. Yeah, agreed. Almost as bad as Trevor Noah, as bad as Jimmy Kimmel at low ratings Academy Awards. Noah said incorrectly about me, Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Never been to Epstein Island, and until tonight's false and defamatory statement, have never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah, total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue this poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC and suing him for plenty of money. Good, go for it, man. Go for it. See, this is what happens when you stand inside the castle walls and you say stupid crap like that. And here he is talking about Ketanji Brown Jackson, who didn't win a Grammy, even though she read a book for the very first time and was up for a Grammy. I got to move my computer. She was up for a Grammy. She didn't win. Here he is talking about her.
I just want to say congratulations.
By the way, she's a Supreme Court justice. She did a standing ovation when they said ice out. She needs to be out of the Supreme Court.
This is a special one to first-time Grammy nominee who's in the house here, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's right.
She was so dumb she couldn't read a coffee table book.
Was nominated in the audio book.
Picture. Another picture.
Category. And with her being here, you know what that means. For the first time ever, if you lose a Grammy, you can appeal directly to the Supreme Court.
Fantastic. See, listen, I love music, okay? I really do. You know that I love music. I just hate these people. I really do. They're just, hate is such a strong word, really? I'm a white supremacist according to them, so I don't think they're too crazy about me. So there you go. Then there was Jelly Roll. Now, he does a song called Hard Fought Hallelujah. And it is a beautiful song. And he does a live version of it. And I start my day most days with it. Sorry. Listen to it, you'll understand. Here he is, odd man out at the Grammys, thanking God for what he has.
I know they're going to try to kick me off here, so just let me try to get this out.
You know, I'm going to play the longer version of it here. Let me find it. Hold on. Jelly Roll. I got a better quality sound here. One. Jelly Roll. Here it is. Here's Jelly.
I know they're going to try to kick me off here, so just let me try to get this out. First of all, Jesus, I hear you and I'm listening, Lord. I am listening, Lord.
Woo, ice out, woo.
Second of all, I want to thank my beautiful wife. I would have never changed my life without you. I'd have ended up dead or in jail. I'd have killed myself if it wasn't for you and Jesus. I thank you for that. I thank you for my label, Broken Bow, Country Radio, baby. What's up, dog? Oh, Republic, John Manili, we did it, baby.
Listen.
There was a time in my life, y'all, that I was broken. That's why I wrote this album. I didn't think I had a chance, y'all. There was days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot cell. And I believed that those two things could change my life. I believed that music had the power to change my life and God had the power to change my life. And I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord.
Wow. And what did he do there? He just destroyed everything else that was said at that miserable award ceremony last night. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
I make the Democrats look incredibly dumb. Inflation is down, the economy's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. Best is yet to come since we bombed Iran. Taking out all their nukes, that was part of the plan. The border's secure once again. Illegals are getting in. Doge has saved us billions. This is what it's like to win. Best is yet to come, and it's gonna be fine. Best is yet to come. Hear the Democrats whine. Listen to them whine. The last laugh is mine.
The FBI says Democrats got ballots from China. The CCP are dirty rats, sending ballots from China. Fake driver's licenses the Chinese supply to cheat in 2020 can't be denied. Cash Patel produced the proof. China helped steal it. He's about to raise the roof. I can't just feel it. Democrats, they are nervous, and they ought to be. If you got ballots from China, should not go free.
One doctor billed the government $120 million in a single year, claiming to oversee 1,900 patients. With almost 2,000 hospice agencies, LA County has more than 36 states combined, and 30 times more than either Florida or New York.
18% of the whole country's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. How is that possible?
And take a look at this map, a cluster of 287 hospice providers in a 2-mile radius, some in strip malls, unmarked buildings, even a wrecking yard and vacant lot.
All of it is just paperwork. I could fill that out in Kazakhstan if I want and get a hospice license waiting for me.
Robbie there. Deep state, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. It's the Rob Carson Show.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
This was censored.
Rob,
the 2020 election was the most secure
election in American history.
Yeah.
Let me begin by asking a very simple question. Do we know the truth about what really happened in the 2020 election?
Know something went wrong, and they have little pieces, and no one's really put it together.
I'm agnostic on this question, and I am awaiting more information. If I believed the president were a Nazi,
got it. I'm sorry, Brian.
Bold accusations require bold.
Brian, I'm back.
And they haven't seen it.
We have been working on something big.
Show me the money.
I had to plug it into the other output. It stopped working.
I've been working with Greg Phillips. He has a deep background in election.
Yes, Brian. Answer me.
Yeah, because you weren't. You weren't.
Yes, okay. Well, I need you to answer me. Tell me when I go live.
You're up now.
All right. We had an issue with the microphone. I apologize. I had to unplug the microphone earlier. And I moved the studio around this weekend. It is a mess. It is an absolute mess. Sorry. We'll get it figured out. That said, let me go back to Brian. Did we get to the point about the California fraud before my microphone?
Just bits of it, yeah.
All right. Let me do that again. And I apologize. I had to literally unplug the microphone and start over again. I sincerely apologize for this. California, I had mentioned, this is 18% of the entire country's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. Okay? 18%. There's one doctor who is billing $120 million a year. One doctor is billing $120 million a year. Okay? And it's all about hospice. Listen to this. Here we go. We'll try it again.
One doctor billed the government $120 million in a single year, claiming to oversee 1,900 patients. With almost 2,000 hospice agencies, LA County has more than 36 states combined, and 30 times more than either Florida or New York.
18% of the whole country's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. How is that possible?
And take a look at this map, a cluster of 287 hospice providers in a 2-mile radius, some in strip malls, unmarked buildings, even a wrecking yard and vacant lot.
All right, before my microphone crapped out on me, I was sharing how we've been screwed. We've been completely screwed over. And people are going to have to go to jail for this. David Sachs was talking about this weekend. And David Sachs has an answer for why the Democrat Party wants illegals.
The Democrats want to thwart mass deportations because illegal immigrants are a vital part of their power base. And you can see this in the 2030 apportionment forecast, which just came out. Illegal aliens count towards the census, which occurs every decade. And the census determines the apportionment of congressional seats and electoral votes. And what you see in these maps is that citizens of blue states have been migrating to red states because those blue states are failing. As a result of that, blue states are expected to lose 9 House seats and electoral votes because of the changing population numbers. Illegal aliens in blue states have been propping up those numbers. And so, for example, in the last election, President Trump would have won an additional 9 electoral votes if we had an accurate counting
Yeah, this is why they're freaking out. This is why they're willing to burn the country down. That's what they want to do this summer. They want to burn the country to the ground. More bad news. Here is Harry Inton talking about what's happening in Democrat states.
Today I wanted to take a look at some long-term population trends that really should set off a flashing red siren to Democrats nationwide while bringing a big smile to the faces of Republicans nationwide. Why do I say that? Because take a look at the big population gainers versus the last census back in 2020. According to the latest population estimates that take into account the population mid-2025, look at this. The biggest population growth this decade, all 5 of the states that Donald John Trump won. Donald John Trump won in 2024.
Yeah, because people are leaving Democrat states because they're crap holes. That's why they're leaving. Maryland lost 2.3 million people. They out-migrated because Maryland has become such a crap hole. And I'm sorry to say that. My anchor station is WCBM in Baltimore. And I know you guys who listen to me there are sick and damn tired of it. And they're trying to do the same thing to the state of Virginia with this bat-guano crazy woman who is the governor now, who lied about what she was to get elected and now is completely turning the state upside down and ruling as a communist. So there's that. This is why the left is going so insane and willing to burn down the country. This is Kristi Noem this weekend. She's the DHS secretary. The left wants her fired because she's doing a great job, you see. I think it's kind of sexist. And here she is talking about these organized protests around the country.
We learn from every situation that we're in. We see a very organized, well-funded campaign of violent protests against our law enforcement officers. And so we're going to continue to get as much information as soon as possible to give a strategy to protect people, protect our federal buildings like the president laid out.
Here she is talking about the chaos and the investigations that are coming.
In those situations, there was chaos on the ground. You're relying on information and facts that you're getting from the ground, and the president and this administration has been incredibly transparent with the American people. And so when those reports are given, you give as much information as you possibly can, and we can...
This is what I mean when I say the Democrat Party is in a death spiral to hell, dying like movie vampires, trying to drag us as they kick and scream, drag us into hell with them. That's what they're trying to do.
Continue to go through with the FBI leading on these investigations to get to the bottom of this situation. We stopped so many dangerous people from perpetuating violence and have gotten those terrorist threats and criminals out of our country before they had the chance to do something that would have devastated families.
That's certainly true. But do you still believe that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist?
She did not say that in that interview. But this is why the Democrat Party is going insane. They're losing the voters that they brought in when Joe Biden opened the southern border. The fraud is being exposed, so not only do they face the loss of elections, but also many of them the loss of their freedom as they're prosecuted. They're desperate. They're willing to let the country burn. They want to burn the country, and they're stoking the fire. But we're not going to let that happen, are we? Caitlin Bennett joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Brian Delatry, and I started taking Relief Factor just about a year ago. I was having chronic knee pain. Over time, it just got worse and worse. Just walking downstairs was painful. Well, since I've taken Relief Factor, the results have been just amazing. I actually walk 4 miles a day, 5 to 6 days a week. No pain at all going downstairs. Very active playing golf, and it's been really just unbelievable in the change I've had in the pain in my knee. You know, hope that someone who's experienced the same type of pain gives Relief Factor a try. And I guarantee if you get the results that I have, you'll be very happy. I'm going to continue using the product because I am now pain-free.
Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. Go to relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain?
you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel, they make me feel like a transgender woman.
It is a Rob Carson show on a Monday. It's Groundhog Day, by the way. It's Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow 6 more weeks of winter. Really? I think last year he didn't see his shadow. There were 6 more weeks of winter. I don't understand it. I misinformed you. I was told earlier that Caitlin Bennett was going to be on the show, but things changed. And now we have Tony Shaver, Lieutenant Colonel, Project Sentinel, and the 2020 Trump campaign National Security Advisor. Colonel, so good to see you, my friend. Saw you all over the TV this weekend. How are you?
I'm good, doing well, Rob. And by the way, John Brennan saw a shadow, and that means he's being indicted in 6 weeks. There you go. So.
Oh, buddy, I got to tell you. What do you think about Brennan? We found out last week, Tulsi Gabbard, I believe it was Gabbard, said that they now know that the Russia collusion hoax went all the way up to Barack Obama and John Brennan. This sounds like it's getting all sorts of serious for them, right?
Well, I believe so. There's ample evidence. I think it was 7 January. There was a memo from Susan Rice, the National Security Advisor, which basically acknowledged, kind of in her own guilty tick, that the memo said we did everything by the book, which obviously we know was the opposite. So John Brennan and James Comey, both together, along with Susan Rice, were able to construct this complete fiction that never actually was real. And I think that's what we're now focused on. I think that the James Comey thing has to be revisited as well, because this is not simply about false official statements. This is actually using official positions of authority to manufacture information to go after Mike Flynn, to do things which were completely inappropriate and illegal, as far as I'm concerned, regarding President Trump. I mean, there was. Then, of course, those people around President Trump who were then caught up in the Russia collusion thing. Obviously, several folks that have been talked about over the years, they actually had significant legal expenses to defend themselves as well. So, to me, this needs to be a full court press to put John Brennan, James Comey, and Susan Rice in prison. By the way, Susan Rice has been not even talked about hardly, and I think that's another name that needs to be reintroduced to the public lexicon of accountability.
I got to tell you, there are days that I feel like I'm living a nightmare. Like we mentioned Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Look at how massive this is. Look at what they did. Tony Shaffer, look what they did. It is unprecedented in American history what they did to weaponize every department of our government, every intelligence department, to try to take down Donald Trump and go after American citizens. Tony Shaffer, this is republic-ending stuff. People have to go to jail for this.
Oh, I agree. And I think this is where some of the folks that President Trump had brought in to fix things didn't really want to fix things. And I'm going to bring up Bill Barr. He took the Mueller report and he kind of said, there's nothing here. There was the John Durham testimony. Looking back on that, they knew Bill Barr, Durham, they all knew the same information we now know. As a matter of fact, they were given all of this as a predicate to do something to fix it, and they didn't. And I believe at this point that they were all in on the collusion for purposes of trying to protect the bureaucracy, to protect the institutions, not to get to justice. And I think that's what their job was, to get in there and say, yeah, you people made mistakes, but nothing to see here. They were there to clear it up, hide it, and make it go away, presuming that President Trump would never be reelected. And I think this is where President Trump has to be smarter than the average bear to say, we're not going to sit back and allow these guys to escape, because even people on our own side were trying to do that. And that's something that cannot be accepted.
We waited through 6 years of this nonsense, waiting for the day there would be accountability. They started saying it's retribution because they were terrified, and they need to be justly terrified for what they've done. And you know what else, Tony? I was talking earlier to Blaine Holt. What a powerful combination! My God in heaven, I couldn't ask for a better Monday lineup than you two guys. But all of these things are connected. You've got the Democrat Party. You're a cold warrior. You know how corrupt the Soviet Union was. I used to say that we're going to discover that America is as corrupt as the Soviet Union, but with $7 trillion, they never dreamed of having that kind of money. We're worse than that. We're every bit as bad, maybe worse, than the Soviet Union as far as corruption and graft.
Yeah, and that's my issue. And even our own side. This is where I go back to speaking about, look, John Brennan and Jim, they're evil because they're evil. But then there's people on our own side. And again, to your point, as the National Security Advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign, I was trying to get to the president to brief him on the fact that we had found evidence that James Comey and all those guys, Mueller and all that, the FBI had never come around, even when Comey left, that Christopher Wray was just as bad. And because of our side, the chief of staff at the time was John Kelly. Even after I got clearance from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Joe Dunford, and clearance from the FBI director, Mike Pompeo, I still couldn't get to see the president because they were isolating Trump from the reality of what was going on. And that's our side.
Were they doing it to keep the president? Were they doing it to keep the president ignorant, so he didn't know the attacks were going on? Is that why they did it?
Of course, and that's what I'm saying. Our own side, to a certain level, was involved in this, and that's what we have to fix as well.
I swear to God. Did they ever put the heavy on you to shut up?
Well, they isolated me, I'll say that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is that even though I was the National Security Advisor to the campaign, you had enough people like the Chief of Staff and others trying to keep me from talking to Trump because, they were, and I talked to President Trump about this. It's like, look, I told him what happened, and he said that was not unique. And that's my point, Rob. My experience is not unique. There was others who were trying to get to the president to let him know what was going on, and yet our own side was isolated. That cannot happen. That should never happen, and yet it did. And we have to make sure that gets fixed.
You still have the presidents here. I mean, you still are involved.
The president.
What is he telling you about that? What is he telling you about accountability for these bastards?
Well, that's part of what's coming up. I have to be a little bit careful because I know there's some things coming. He's telegraphed. So one of the things he's talked about, and we're seeing it right now, is going back and relooking the 2020 fraud and cheating. I think that's going to be one of the main things he basically delves into, and you'll see a lot more on that.
Is that related to Maduro? Is that related to Maduro? Blaine Holt, maybe he said that might have been related to Maduro.
So when we went into Venezuela, Rob, we didn't go in just to get Maduro. Just say it.
Okay, all right. There you go.
No, that's why you saw Tulsi Gabbard down there at the warehouse.
So malign foreign influence on the election.
Yeah.
Wow, this is big. Well, on the other side of the break, I want to get your thoughts on Iran, on Cuba as well, because this is going to be, there's a lot of balls in the air. More balls than I've ever seen in the air. Thank you very much. More balls than in a Don Lemon birthday party. Anyway, that's call coming up with Tony Shaffer on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. More with Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer in one moment. Price of gold was $5,500 a little over a week ago. It's $46.90. You're freaking out. Oh no, you shouldn't be. You should be thrilled because you had to buy. If you're going to buy in last week, it was $5,500. If you're going to buy in this week, you're saving $800 an ounce. Silver was $113. It's $79.92. You're freaking out. No. It's a buyer's market. People sold. There was one day last week, price of gold went up $500 in one day. That triggered people to say, I'm selling. And they did. And they cashed in. What does that mean? More market, more gold on the market for you to buy. And now you're getting a price break, an unexpected price break. Is the world a less chaotic place? No. Are the central banks not buying gold anymore? No, they're buying gold. Maybe you should. This is the opportunity you've been waiting for. For the first time, like very, very rarely do I make the right financial decisions. I'll just tell you that. But I decided last week I was going to cash in this 401k that was just lying there and make it gold and go with Birch Gold. And look what happened. The price of gold went down, and I bought it at a bargain basement price. And I'm going to sit on it. And those of you who did not sell when it was $500 higher or $800 higher, you're going to sit on it and wait for that meteoric rise to happen again. Birch Gold is who I believe in. Birch Gold is who I trust. They have my money. They should have yours. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 now. Get in while the price of gold is low. It's still dramatically higher. It's still $46.90. It was $26.90 a year ago. But if you want to get in, I do it now. Text Rob to 989898. Rob to 989898. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. I was talking again to Blaine Holt earlier about Iran and how we've got this flotilla getting real close and how he doesn't believe that we're going to have to do much to get the Ayatollah to say, I think I'm out of here. What do you think?
I think the indications from the Iranian officials' comments are clear that there's a negotiation going on, that President Trump is getting through to them. And, yeah, I think the threat of military force, to me, this is one of those great ironies. So someone who's had to do interrogations, Rob, I think you can, kind of understand the irony. So I don't believe in torture, but I do believe that the threat of torture can be used very effectively because it's always the threat often more effective than the use. So I think the sword hanging over their head has really got their attention. It's freaking them out.
Yes.
And the other thing to remember is that none of the conditions that actually created the uprising, that is the record low currency, the lack of goods for the merchant class to sell, the lack of potable water because they made bad choices regarding crops. It takes all the water. And, of course, their country being essentially a pariah state, those things haven't changed. So I think President Trump has literally said, look, there's some things we need to have access to. We need access to the nuclear program. We need the idea of free elections to be something you put forth.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think that...
So as part of this negotiations, he's basically saying the Ayatollah, you're done. That has to be a part of it. He cannot stay in power. Is that? Do you suppose that's part of the negotiation? You're done. It's just a matter of how we get you out.
The theocracy has to be done. Yes.
Okay.
The Mullahs,
amen.
The IRGC. Remember, up until the Trump administration, Iran was the largest nation sponsor of terrorism on the planet.
Yes.
The only reason that's changed because Trump defunded them, and then he neutered them. And at this point, the economy's failing because of actual enforcement of sanctions, which Biden wasn't doing.
Yep.
And, of course, plane loads of billions of dollars, which both Biden and Obama did, also propped them. So after you stop funding the mullahs, I think there's a pretty good chance that we can get them out without having to fire.
Good. That would be brilliant. That would be absolutely beautiful. A new U.S. envoy arrives in Venezuela after reopening the embassy after 7 years. That's kind of a big deal. Of course, this also cascades into Cuba. Let's start with Venezuela. What's going to happen there next?
Well, I think you're going to see probably open elections. One of the things that we did know is that, and I've had friends who were there during the previous elections, the fake elections. So it was literally a communist nation that was using the facade of democracy to maintain power and control.
Yep.
So Chavez, before Maduro was doing this, I think we're going to see elections happen where the opposition will probably win and take over, and it'll become an actual democracy.
Cuba's down to its last 5 weeks of gas.
Yeah.
How quickly is this going to fall, and what's going to happen? Do you suppose there are going to be a whole lot of expats going back to Cuba and rebuilding that island?
Yeah, I'd be buying port facilities in Key West right now to get a jump-off point back.
I hope so. I hope so, brother. I really, brother, more than anything in the world, I swear to God. You and I have lived our entire lives seeing Cuba as a prison colony.
Yeah, literally.
My God, can you imagine the possibilities of that island and its people when they're free?
It'll be glorious, and that's a wonderful, beautiful place. And it'll become the jewel of the Caribbean. People will all want to be going down there. It'll be amazing.
And I won't have to pay $50 for fake Cuban cigars in Mexico anymore.
Exactly. That's right.
I hope so, brother. We see all these violent, nonsensical, protests around our country that are bought and paid for. I'm hoping that they get to the root cause of that and go after Neville Singham and George Soros and end this bull crap, because it's only going to get worse this summer, right?
Yep. The President Trump has to stay on top of all this stuff. There's so many things going on; it's hard to track. But he's got, and I don't know if anybody except him knows what his master plan is. But the bottom line is, things are happening. He's stirring things up for the right reasons, and I think there's a good chance that you're going to see a lot more favorable chances. And by the way, I think the economy is going to be cooking in about 2 months. It's good now, but it's going to be wonderful in about 2 months.
I agree. Think about the people on Social Security. They got the largest Social Security increase in the history of Social Security by not taxing it.
Yeah.
It's going to mean so much money for people who just scrape by on Social Security. I'm not going to say it's going to be much better, but it's going to be better. It's certainly going to be better. Tony Shaffer, thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate you. Where can people find all your glorious work online?
So just check me out on X, at tspooky, and then, of course, ColonelTonySchafer.com. Thanks for having me, Rob. I always enjoy our conversation.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All righty. How are you, kids? This has been I think it's been a good show, even though I had some mic problems and some computer problems, and my printer didn't work, and I'm sitting in an uncomfortable chair, and I had to rewire everything. Other than that, it's been great. It's been great. Oh, my God. I almost went back on the meds. But I'm not going to need that anymore. All right, who's watching over here? Who's watching? Oh, let's see. Sport Tech, Lady Vu. Lady Vu is new. Lady Vu is new over on the Rumbly Roo. Thank you so much. I was thinking this weekend about what to call you guys. So you guys are on the Rumbly Roo. I call you the Rumble Roo. And then I got the Facebookies. And I was thinking of YouTubitches. YouTubitches. What do you think? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's a little rude. I wouldn't use that on the air. But I'm coming up with names for each one of you guys. Benny Cute. Benny Cute is new. Michael Morse is new. Look at all the new people on YouTubeage. New YouTubeitches. Yay. Yay. Xers, Generation Xers over there on X. Glad to have you there, guys. God bless you. I couldn't do this without you guys. I couldn't do this without you. This weekend was one of those weekends that was one of the most trying weekends I've had to go through. And I couldn't do it without you, so I'm so glad you're here. I need you today, man. I'll tell you that. It was rough. Well, we got a lot of viewers today, but I'll tell you. Colts Walker. Rumble rocks. Colts Walker. Good to have you, man. Thanks for watching today. You're new. Jagary. Hello. Welcome. Woo!
Yeah, about 320.
All right. Oh, it is the Rob Carson Show. Today has been, I think we've had a really good show. It has been a little, I got a lot of stuff going on. I had to move the whole studio around, and it's like, I don't know, trying on shoes with rocks in your shoes. That's what it feels like right now, because everything's in a different place and all of this, and I'm getting. So I appreciate your patience today. We had a microphone problem earlier, but look at our numbers. Our streaming numbers are gigantic today. And I want to mention Dan Bongino's back on Rumble. That's going to be really good for Rumble. And Rumble, they have been attacking Rumble so much. They have been attacking Newsmax so much. But we're going to emerge victorious. These jackweeds in New York want to get Newsmax out of taxi cabs because they can't stand that people are watching little 1-minute news updates in New York taxi cabs. Well, screw you. Screw you. I would encourage you to support Newsmax. Get a Newsmax Plus membership if you would. Download the Newsmax app. because they're very important. Bongino's important. Rumble's important. I consider Bongino on Rumble again to be a lead into my show. He's on 10 to noon. I'm on from noon to 3. So you can easily pivot from what he does, which is a completely different show than what I do, obviously, and then come over here and join me. This weekend was just a very trying weekend. I was right this morning setting up lights, and I'm just so glad I have you here. I'm so glad you're here with me. And you don't know what it means. There are days where you kind of wonder if God's giving you more than you can handle. It's real close the last couple days. Real close. But I know you're there with me, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you. This is why I'm here in the heart of the swamp. We're here together. We're here together. If you didn't hear earlier, also, on top of everything else, I go on a date. And I'm at a sushi place, marvelous sushi place, by the way. And my date is having some sake, and there's a little container with sake, and there's a little container with soy sauce. And I thought I'd be debonair. Instead, I'm deboner. And I filled her glass with soy sauce by accident, and then spilled it. Yeah, I know. That's me. So on top of everything else, my first date in a very long time, then I look like a moron. So there you go. That's my life. But things are great. And you're here, and we're here, and we are going to win this year. And it's going to be the greatest year in American history. It is, and we're going to experience it together. How's that sound? I think it sounds pretty darn good. So check out the podcast if you get a sec. Just go to your usual podcast platforms. Look up Rob Carson Show. There's a lot of good stuff on the show today. Both Tony Shaffer and Blaine Holt, exceptional. Ooh, you got to listen to both those interviews if you missed 1 second of them. Especially Blaine was new information. It's going to make you feel so good about accountability. God bless you. America has founded Donald Trump in this presidency as he's under attack. Pray for him. God bless him. God bless you. And until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, don't catch the stupid. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real